Damn, I feel like it's 2006 again. That beautiful and terrible time when video game companies would say, dude, an animated movie that made a lot of money. Dude, let's make a game for the PlayStation 2 right there. Big time. And there they were. Dozens of video games based on animated movies, which were nothing more than simple games. Platformers that used the image of successful movies as their main commercial hook, which was understandable at that time. Video game development wasn't as expensive as it is today, and everyone had a modded PlayStation 2 at home. Many games based on movies or animated series were just companies trying to make easy money with minimal effort. Even with odd things like the King Kong movie video game, that trend of making games from movies or series continued. They gave us classics like The Simpsons, Hit and Run, and all the Lego games. Man, we had some great games back then, huh? And it hasn't been any different with anime either. I mean, we have a ton of Naruto video games and a crazy amount of Dragon Ball video games. And hey, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm over there, all hyped like a Swifter, watching the new Budokai Tenkaichi trailers and praying. Hope it doesn't become like Sims 4 where DLCs make the game cost nearly $1,000. By the way, speaking of everything, have you seen the thing about Taylor Swift in the plane? Nothing to do with it, but it's funny. The thing is, the trend is to make video games about any trendy product to make easy money. Because at least nowadays, we felt that at least companies now do make an effort to try to release something of quality. Even though they released popular franchise games, it seemed like they tried to ensure players didn't regret buying them. After 5 minutes, well, we had Dragon Ball games, gachas, Nanatsu no Taizai, Black Clover, and the Kimetsu no Yaiba game. But on the other hand, there were the Shingeki games, which I'd rather not discuss, Kringeki no Midgaishi, The Misfortune of Seinen, the Sword Art Online games, which were practically all the same. And not by much, not in the form of visual novels. I've always thought shonen anime have great potential for video games. I mean, take a fighting formula, add the characters, throw in some cool animations, and that's it. But no, Jam Force doesn't exist, it's just a Mandela effect. Can you erase it from your minds? Since many anime are based on visual novels, why not create visual novels from popular anime? Rom-com? One that emphasizes story, letting players make choices to shape their own experience. And those virgin otaku things you guys like? Although after saying all this, you might be wondering why this introduction is so long. And I would tell you, and I'll say, guys, this is my video. And if I see my video with someone from 2010, I'll screw it whenever I want. I mean, seriously. My channel was created in 2013, so it's still underage. Seriously? All that intro just to say something simple. If something is popular, companies will exploit it as much as they can. And the fact that they exploit popular franchises doesn't always mean they won't deliver decent products. And that's what brings us here today. Jujutsu Kaisen, Cursed Clash, or as I call it, Jujutsu Kaisen, the Cursed Game, really lives up to its name. Let's start from the beginning. But dude, when you say let's start, is it assumed we're at the beginning? Dude, no. Redundant just to monetize? Lizard. It's strange that I'm doing all the talking like I'm arguing with myself. I don't know if this could be considered or validated as schizophrenia. Maybe that shows that something inside me is turning dark. But is there a way to avoid that growing darkness in my heart? Not only can you get rid of all the Kingdom Hearts games, but subscribing to this channel also helps grow our wonderful family. That way you won't feel overwhelmed by the darkness. So subscribe, damn it. Please, I don't know, man, it doesn't cost anything, man, it's one of the few free things in life. You may not see my smile when you subscribe, but picture a cute, chubby pit bull grinning. That's me. Back to Jujutsu Kaisen. When I went on Steam to buy it, I was surprised. 60 euros, fascinating. If you're charging AAA game prices, I expect that level of quality, right? After buying the anime video game, you reach the menu. Hey, it's strange that I accidentally downloaded the first season's Blu-ray. This menu is so typical for Blu-rays, don't you get it? That's the main menu of the game. It's just minimalist, like Fate 2006, okay? So it's big and there's probably some menu. Are you telling me you just charged me 60 euros? So the first thing you see is this menu worthy of a 2003 digital versatile disc. Oh no, what the hell? I'm sure DVDs of kids' animated series from 15 years ago had menus much more appealing than this. Ooh. Oh well, let's give it a try. Maybe I'm exaggerating. This is just the first impression, but honestly, it's pretty bad for a game to fail at that stage. Let's try story mode. It starts much like the Kimetsu game, just a bit further in from the beginning. It starts with a computer graphics cutscene, which isn't bad, but then suddenly turns into a PowerPoint presentation. Okay? A bit of training with Goyo and the fight ends just like a Sonic 2006 level. Seriously, does this seem like a meme? Itadori? Posing there, out of context, the fight score disappears and a letter shows up representing our grade in the battle. And now, more PowerPoint? So we're returning to when Yuji hadn't eaten the finger at the series' start. I'm noticing a plot inconsistency here. Being a nerd, I think it would have been easy to fix. You'll see. Yuji is currently battling the curse from episode 1, but hasn't swallowed the finger yet. You might say, I don't get it. Even though Yuji lacked cursed energy at first, they had to open the show with a fight. There was no other option. All right. I get your point, dear subscriber, whose sweat has fused his skin to the chair. But I have a small solution for this. Since Yuji can't use cursed energy from a story perspective at this point in the story, it would have been better if they started the game by letting Yuji eat the finger. Make the fight Sukuna versus that crappy curse, since Sukuna is the one who eliminated it in the series. And it's not the first time we've seen in an anime game that they stretch out a fight that originally lasted like 2 seconds into a ridiculously long battle. But anyway, the thing is, the fight happens. After more PowerPoints, Goyo and Sukuna fight, with Goyo winning. Goyo then poses and gets ranked. Really tough. More PowerPoints come, then more fighting, and then more PowerPoint, and then more fighting. And yeah, I think you get the point. I want to compare the Jujutsu Kaisen game to another recent anime game that adapted its first season story well. The Jujutsu game only covers season 1. What about Utah's movie? And I'm talking about the Kimetsu no Yaiba video game, which might be unfair to compare. Yes, CyberConnect, the company behind the Kimetsu game, are total masters. They created the Naruto Ultimate Storm and Ultimate Ninja series as well as the game. Also Asura's Wrath and Dragon Ball Z, Kakarot. Though I have some issues with the latter, among others. Meanwhile, Baiken, developer of the Jujutsu game, had only created 2 Boku no Hero games. Just cancel that and end Resin X. Now they made this game, so it's clear one game is much better than the other. However, the Jujutsu franchise is hugely popular, so giving it to an inexperienced studio seems risky. I don't think that was the best decision, but enough talk. Let's compare. The Kimetsu game, like the Jujutsu one, begins slightly ahead. At the start of the original anime, this works really well as a tutorial, and it's also made in such a way that you can understand it, even if you haven't seen the series, with a magnificent introduction made entirely in computer-generated imagery cinematics, and with an artistic style that closely resembles the anime. On the other hand, we have the Jujutsu game, which in its approximately 7 hours of gameplay, the only computer-generated imagery cinematic you see. It's the only one at the start, there aren't any others. In the Kimetsu game, you can move your character in a semi-open world, find items, and complete side missions. In the Jujutsu one, you simply press a button to advance, pick the mission, and that's it. I think I'll stop comparing now since it's unnecessary. Simply put, one game managed to handle a story we already knew 1,000 times better, while the other was a monumental mess, completely redundant. Because what I said is true. The only computer-generated imagery cutscene in the Jujutsu game is at the start. The rest of the game is just PowerPoints with frames taken from the anime. They didn't even bother to redraw the scenes, so it just feels like we're looking at a screenshot. Well, let's check out the battles. Maybe they're good. It's a semi-open world fight focused on non-stop ultimate spamming. Well, let's check out the character animations. Oh my god, what the hell is this? Ah, the character models aren't that bad, right? Oh no, for God's sake. Well, all things considered, maybe the fights are entertaining. Oh no, you can literally win them by just pressing one button with your eyes closed. Good lord, this is indefensible, man. This looks like Goku, not Hero Academia. Well, at least the online game has to be fun. Oh, but the servers are constantly crashing. Is there anything in this game that's not embarrassing? Of course there is. You have a lot of collectibles and skins. Imagine having Maki in an Ilya cosplay. I mean, that Maki who looks underage. That would be awesome. Okay, what about the skins? They're just default skins with recolors. This one, 60. Freaking euros. Worst part is, the game leaves out Shibuya, so they'll probably add it in a downloadable content. At least $25 or $30. I know I said I wouldn't compare this to the Kimetsu game again. At least that one included more details, like side missions, cutscenes, extras, or world exploration. Did they make it so that watching a story most people had already seen animated before became enjoyable? We can't forget both games share the series' story. The games just needed to make that familiar story entertaining and immersive. But the Jujutsu game only makes the story more complicated and boring, because adding a semi-open world where you can discover secrets and things like that, forget it. The story mode in this game is the dullest and most soulless ever. Yes, we can say the Jujutsu Kaisen game lacks any soul. You won this time, Darkai, but it won't last? What are you looking at, huh? Kringeki, what's wrong with you? To select a part of the story, you have a damn map with pictures. Select the moment you want to play in the series, see a PowerPoint showing your place, then get ready to fight. There are no computer-generated imagery cutscenes recreating the anime. And it's just the same story from Season 1 with nothing new. Actually, there is something new. Short, original stories set after Season 1 and before Shibuya. Want to hear the funniest part? Well, since they're original stories that didn't happen in the anime, the developers didn't have frames to take screenshots from and make their precious PowerPoint presentations. So what did they do? They simply used generic backgrounds and character PNGs, moving them to mimic animation. They didn't even bother to use the damn 3D models they had stuck in there to at least create original sequences. In computer-generated imagery, they literally just moved PNGs to make them look alive. This isn't normal. This isn't just any random isekai from some eccentric Japanese creator's wild fantasies. We're talking about freaking Jujutsu Kaisen, a franchise that has become one of the biggest successes in anime history in a very short time. Just over a week ago, the latest Jujutsu volume sold 1 million copies in a week. Now they release this crap. Want to hear something even funnier? This isn't Jujutsu Kaisen's first game. Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade was released earlier in Japan, a turn-based game. Very much in the style of Fate Grand Order, and even though it may seem like though it may seem like a typical phone gacha game, this one stands out. Watch closely. First, a narrative style very similar to Fate Grand Order as. At least the 2D character models move like 3D, which is way better than the PowerPoint-style presentation we got for €60. Second, the game offers a completely original story. While it's not amazing, it's at least unique. Third, the game also has the option to have a completely original character, who will be our avatar. Fourth, and you won't believe this, but the game has original illustrations that tell you about the events that happened in the anime, and also original illustrations for the events of the game's original story. The illustrations are impressive and clearly created with care, suggesting the artists were paid fairly. And the best part is that, for the $60 game, they just reused the anime, creating something empty and soulless. In the other game, the Fate-style one, they created a full 2D animation as the official opening. In fact, you're probably seeing clips of it right now because it's genuinely really well made. They even had legendary Ibi, who did the first season's opening, sing the opening for a turn-based visual novel-style game. And meanwhile, the one that was supposed to be the AAA game, the one they were going to sell for $60 is just sitting there in the corner, doing nothing. No, I don't see anything. You're not doing anything. Or, well, actually, there is something. This game holds a world record. That's right, the record for possibly the most returns in a week, in just 4 days. The Jujutsu game got 100,000 refunds, oh my god. I mean, who wouldn't want to refund it, you know? I'd rather use those €60 to stuff myself with pizza and Monster, instead of buying a game that forces me to grind for who knows how many hours just to buy something. Bad skins? It could be worse. Imagine spending €100 for the ultimate game version. That way, I'd get skins from the first ending and future access to the downloadable content about Goyo's past. Yeah, right, bastard, damn. So, literally, I'd be paying for the promise of a downloadable content that might come out in 2 months in a year, or maybe it won't even come out. In conclusion, Jujutsu Kaisen Corset Crush is mediocre. Not even a charcoal-colored streamer or a fan of the Fate girls could defend this thing. It has the simplest and most boring combat I've seen in a video game. The story mode it comes with is the most lifeless thing I've seen in all these years I've been playing video games, and I hope that someday they manage to fix this damn game. But conditions? The online is so bad, I never thought a PC game could have worse online than the Nintendo Switch, but they did it. There's not much more to say, honestly. If you ask me, Bills, as a true fan of the franchise, should I buy this video game to satisfy my desires? More content from Jujutsu Kaisen? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. As I mentioned in my Suicide Squad game review, I hope everyone who bought this returned it within 2 hours. But what if you couldn't? Let's hope they fix it later or add something worthwhile to justify your spending.